Good morning, Carmen. This is Catherine. 136.4.
Good morning, Miss Carmen. 184.6. This is Ken Brown.
It's actually 139. My thing is doing weird things. Anyway, good morning. Happy 4th.
Decibel Idaho 194.1.
Kia Hamill 179.8. Woo!
Shumway 153.4.
Zach, 206 pounds even.
Marna Lopez 171.4.
This is Heather 237.8.
Heather C 218.4.
So tonight you are going to be hosted by season 4, and we are super excited to host you guys, and we're just excited for your journey as well. So what we're going to do is get started with the standings.
With all the 7 weeks is 273 pounds. You guys, that's phenomenal. Awesome job. Y'all need to give yourselves some pats in the back. I'm going to read this out also for people who made it into the new decades this week. April made it into the 130s, whoop, whoop. And Kia made it into the 170s, whoop, whoop. And Zach made it into his last decade before Wonderland. That is fantastic. I am so proud of you, each and every one of you. That's awesome work. The beautiful work of having everyone together and accountability together. So great work.
All right. Hey, what's up? Season 5. Okay, so tonight we got a special rigmarole that we're really excited to talk to you guys about, and it's the gray zone. And before we get into the details of the gray zone, I simply wanted to jump in here and remind everybody of one of our gray zone wonderlands, yellow brick roads that lead us to the gray zone is holidays. And, let's say, I don't know, it's like 4th of July and you want to go to a party or you're invited to several parties and you're like, oh, the food and my family is eaters and they're pushers and I'm expected to bring the red, white, and blue dessert and because that's what I'm known for. Like, listen, Linda, stop it. Everybody is more entangled in their own world than giving 2 craps about you and what you're doing. You will way overcomplicate it in your mind more so than what anybody cares. Get yourself a fun outfit, dress up, take your containers, pack your food, and go to the party and have a great time. There's a whole lot of ways that you can be the life of the party without stuffing your face full of crap or drinking the special alcohol drink that Aunt Mary made because everybody's getting sauced up tonight. You can be an awesome, fun time and still reach your goals. I promise you, I have learned this. Through this program. I thought it was never, ever possible without alcohol and awesome food to have just a great time. Listen, they don't care. They're like, oh, did you try Aunt Mary's? No, I didn't. Not yet. And just walk away. They forget about it. Get yourself something fun. Get your food packed up. You will feel so accomplished. And you're going to hear all kinds of fun stuff about that. But I'm just here to let you know there's other ways to be a good time besides food and alcohol. So take it away, Gray Zone friends.
How do you follow the comedian? Oh my goodness. Amazing job, Melissa. And the outfit, it's a 10 plus. I don't have anything on that. So we are talking about there she goes. We're talking about the gray zone tonight. And I looked up the gray zone because I was like, like, what is the gray zone? And when I Googled gray zone, the first thing that came up is it comes up in international relations. And the definition is that it's the space between peace and war. And I think that's a really good definition here, because when you're in the gray zone, I think in your mind, you're in between peace and war. Because when we joined this program, we got a ticket. Okay. Everybody's been on a cruise, an all-inclusive, everything that has to do with that. And I'm just trying to keep my time really short, so I'll talk fast, listen quickly. So we got a ticket, and the ticket was like the airline ticket, the food, the gym, the water, maybe the internet. Maybe you forgot to turn on your Wi-Fi and you got home and your cellular bill was like $500 because you're like, dang, I left the mobile data on, and you didn't take advantage of the free Wi-Fi that came with the ticket for your trip. You're like, oh, I'm so sore and achy because I hardly got to move around the cruise ship. But, like, you didn't take advantage of the 2 free massages. So we got a ticket, and the ticket says, this ticket's going to get us to our right size body. And the ticket said there was some containers. There was, I can't read backwards, a shake, energize, some recover, some coaching, some exercise, and some water. So, the gray zone, I'm going to focus on just a couple of things. The first one is water. So do you measure your gallon of water? Do you measure your gallon of water? Or is this you? I'm at Aunt Mary's house, like Melissa talked about. Oh, I had this glass. At Jen's house, I had this glass. Oh, I was at Kristen's house and I had this glass. Oh, in my car, I had this bottle. And by the end of the day, you have no clue. You're like, well, it must have been a gallon. This glass was big. This glass was all right. This is like almost a quart. Or do you measure out your gallon so that you're not in the gray zone?
About the gray zone. I have a teaspoon here, and this is, you can see it. Well, this is half a teaspoon, but just imagine a full one, right? So a little bit of my story. When I invested into this, and I was just like thrilled. I was just super, super excited and scared and just so happy to be a part of this. I told myself I've invested so much into this, so much commitment. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it right. I don't want to mess up. So when I would toast my Ezekiel bread, I would get my teaspoon and I would, measure it off to the, like, where there was nothing. It was just flat. I remember Carmen even mentioning that early on in our calls in phase 1. And I kept it like that because I had a goal. I knew where I wanted to be. I met my goal, and I would let, just the little bit of butter slide over the rim here and then like the little sides and just be like, oh, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. But the scale showed it. So I say that to say that, I don't know if Carmen has shared this with you all yet or not, but what we do in secret is going to show in public. And I know it's so little. So from that, I want to lead you all to those little bits that we do, whether they're negative or not so great or positive, they're going to come out. They're going to add up to big results. And the positive for this, like the little teaspoon thing, at the beginning, I couldn't see it. And maybe you all can't see it because it takes a while to catch up of like, oh my goodness, that's me. That looks like I think that's me. When you have people tell you, you look fantastic, Jerry, you look fantastic, Heather, Catherine, you look great. All the work that you do, they're little bits, they're little steps that are going to equal tremendous results. And that's my desire for you all, for each of you. That was, and following Carmen's directions, keeping it simple, will get you those huge, tremendous results. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. And it's an honor and a blessing to be able to even speak these words to you all. So y'all keep it up and stay away from the gray zone.
That is the song I hear in my head every time I think of going outside of anything that is on the list, is the highway to the danger zone. It is called the gray zone. So in my rule book, in my playbook, that is kind of what I have going on. So I just want to share with you a couple successes and a couple wins, as well as a couple of, what would the word be? Mess ups along the way. I remember I was doing so well. I was tracking, I was on day 44, and I thought I was the bomb, like the bomb. And then all of a sudden we had this call right here. And I know many in my season are probably going, oh, do you guys remember that call? In that call, it went through your tracking, your treats, all of those things. The tracking is the most crucial part of it all. And so that is the gray zone. And many of you, I want you to go back. I'd like you to step back 12 weeks ago. Some of you 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, when you first heard about this program and you knew that that was something you wanted to do. You knew like, oh my gosh, this is going to change my life. How many of you on this call can still feel that feeling? Can you still feel the feeling that I've got to do something? I'm so excited. Do you remember those commitment videos that you gave of why? And then you guys kind of go down the path and you weave through, and now you're halfway through the program. And then you're going to be going, okay, I've got this. Some of you are on this path and you're strong. Other of you guys, you've been living in the gray zone. And I'm here to tell you that you're really not even in the gray zone. You are completely off plan. And others of you, you are dialed in, you're focused, but I'm going to help take you to that next level, because it was this call right here that gave me the shot in the arm to get like everything I needed to do. You see, I missed a container here or there. And I remember Matthew coming on and talking with us. And I remember him saying, whatever you do, just make sure you get to goal. And there's been a few in our season that have gotten to goal, and I will be the next one to goal. And I'm excited for that. However, there are many that I see that don't get to goal. And it's heartbreaking, because we have a coach who has given it her all. She has poured in everything she possibly can for us. And she wants it more for us than we want it for ourselves. And so I encourage you guys, if you're living outside of everything, Crystal, awesome job on holding up all of the things that we really do track. And I had to wipe my 44 days strong to a complete 0 because I missed a container here or there. And you see, I set my takeaways, I followed directions, I did the plan, and I'm excited to say I'm 42 pounds down and I've got 5.6 to go. But it was this tracker right here that is my consistent days. Do you see that's just a 7? Because I still will either miss my water or my container or my window. My window has been my hardest, most challenging thing for me, is because it's that 12-hour window. And I like my coffee with my cashew milk in the morning. So that being said, if there's anything I can encourage you all with today, is making sure you know you have someone who is behind you, who believes in you, knowing that all of us here on this call, we believe in you. We know you have what it takes. We know that that person inside, that is the inner being that's like, yes, this is what I want for my future. This is what I need for my future. This is going to get my legacy to where it needs to be. This is going to get my physical body to where it needs to be. Remembering those why videos and staying out of the gray zone, making sure that it is black or white, but let's stay to the white. Let's follow the light and lead yourself to success.
I actually want to talk to everybody tonight about the gray zone of the gray matter, the stuff in between our ears. I had no idea when I applied for this program just how life-changing these last 6 months would be. This isn't simply, here's the eating plan, go out and eat this stuff and you'll just drop weight. This program is the blueprint for transformation. One of the biggest things that I've had to work on with this blueprint is the mindset. I had no idea just how badly that I had been living in the gray zone in regards to the old gray matter, my mind. Carmen had talked to our season about a certain way to look at the gray zone that really cleared things up for me. I love when pictures are painted with words, and that's exactly what I felt like when Carmen talked to us about the gray zone. She talked about watching a certain reaction video. It was a video of a guy that had lived his whole life colorblind. Then his family had gotten him a pair of glasses that rewires his brain so that he could go from color blindness to seeing the world in living color. Then there was the reaction of the man putting the glasses on for the very first time, and all of his awe and amazement and the emotion, just seeing the world in full color for the very first time. And that's exactly what the transformation program has been like for me. I've had these decades of living in the gray zone, nearly half a century, 48 years before I've gotten on track. And especially when it came to mindset. I used to think I wasn't worth it. I would start weight loss programs and it would go pretty good for about 3 months or so. But then all of a sudden, I would allow myself to be dragged back into the darkness by the gremlins of worthlessness. During these last 6 months, the light has been shed on who I am worth. And that I am worth the time and the energy to make huge changes. I was chosen to be part of this program. Light was shed on me to do this. Carmen didn't have to choose me. There were others that needed this program, but she chose me. Once I was able to wrap my mind, accept and embrace that fact, I had started to put those color blind changing glasses on and begin to look at my life in awe and amazement and the emotion that would overcome me. I used to think I had no purpose. I didn't really know how to set life goals. I mean, I had been to classes that talked about the life goals and vision boards. I had stuff pinned up around the house, but I had always lived in the shadows of other people's lives. I lifted them up, but I always stayed in the shadows. But then Carmen had us set up our own life goals, our health goals, what life looked like once we reached those goals, helping turn things that were just in the gray to brilliant color, being dynamic and specific with those goals and envisioning my future in bright living color. Then it's important for us all of us as one big transformation team to help one another, no matter what season we're in, whether it's season 1, season 5, or upcoming seasons, to help each other stay out of that gray zone. I get so excited to watch everyone's progress every week. I love to see the physical and the mental changes.
Well, here you guys are going into week 8, I believe it's week 8. And there's a reason that you signed up to be in the biggest transformation. And I'm going to share a little part of my journey with you. And as I share my story and how I had to learn to get honest with myself, I want you to ask yourself, why did you fill out the application? Why did you send Carmen the why video? I know for me, I had some behaviors that I was not happy with. I know that I needed help. I know that I needed accountability. And I also noticed when I was in about my 8th week that I was still lying to myself. One of my friends on The Biggest Transformation, who's in my group, she says, when you lie to yourself, you will keep lying to yourself. And I want to show you guys a little photo real quick. So I have, this is my before photo on the left. And before I signed up for The Biggest Transformation, I was an emotional eater, a binge eater, a secret eater. I was very depressed, a lot of pain, and a lot of isolation. And I didn't know how to get out of it. And on the right is me fighting this battle. But in my 8th week, I realized that I was still lying to myself. I would get on with my group and say, yeah, I'm on this day or I'm on that day. And I had to realize, wow, I'm so used to lying to myself. I'm so used to this pattern. I'm so used to being stuck that I'm actually continuing to do this with my group. And just like Kristen shared with you, the mental battle that she had to fight through, I had to learn to get honest with myself, because this transformation was between me and myself and God. And just like Kayla said, is that what we do in secret, it will show up in public. This is in relationships. This is in our marriage. This is how we treat our animals. This is how we treat our children. There's this saying that I like to say is, we become as sick as our secrets. Don't take this transformation lightly. This transformation has taught me how to be a better mom, a better nana, a better wife. This transformation has taught me how to quit lying to myself. I lived in a lot of pain, and I was believing my own lies for so long. And so as you go through this transformation, remember, there's no condemnation. For those of you who have a relationship with Christ, we don't live in condemnation. We learn. Every lesson in life is a learning experience. So if you recognize a behavior that's an old one that you've struggled with for so long, look at it, wrestle with it, go to battle with it. Because that pain on the left, I'm still battling her. I know that if I don't stay with the tools that Crystal held up for me, I will go back to the pain that I was in 6 months ago before I started this journey. But you're going to get honest with yourself tonight. How have you done well staying out of the gray zone? And after tonight's call, where would you like to improve?
I have been tracking besides like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, I think. I had kind of gotten off the path of tracking. But this week I'm back on track. So really writing every single thing down that I eat, measuring every single thing, weighing every single item that I eat, counting my water, similar to, I think it was Crystal who was saying, filling up a big jug. That way, because in the beginning I had kind of done it where I had a cup here and a cup there. And then I was like, I don't know how much water I've had. So it wasn't working for me. So those are the things that I was strong in. I was strong with making sure that I was measuring my water and my food and tracking everything. Things that I want to do after this call going forward is really continuing that and being more consistent with tracking, since I did get off a little bit last week, and with my water, because my water is the one thing that I have struggled with the most.
The area where I think I've done well and where I am really proud of myself is actually sticking to the containers and the tracking. And one of the things that I've done, I've used the app to actually track, but the thing that I want to do better going forward, and Heather alluded to it, one of the things that I've come into the group to say, I haven't been sharing that with the team. And so on the days where maybe I've gotten everything in, but maybe I slipped into the gray zone and I ate 30 minutes later in my window, right? So it's coming in, it's like checking in, okay, 6 a.m. I'm drinking my Energize, 6 p.m. it is done, right? And I should not be putting anything else in my mouth. So for me, that's one area where I really want to be a little bit more diligent with going forward. And just listening to you all talk about slipping into the gray zone, what really resonated with me, because, when you lose a couple pounds and your clothes start fitting a little bit looser, you slide into the gray zone. So, so that's an area where I really want to be a little bit more diligent.
I think the window is where I have been really strong. But it's because I start so late in the day. So So what I have not, but where I would like to improve is making it more small meals. I have several times just eaten all my calories in like an hour. And so I would like to start earlier in the day.
So what I am doing is I'm following directions. That's what I'm doing well. I'm just sticking to the plan and doing exactly what Carmen has told us to do. I loaded all of the things that we're supposed to eat on my phone so I can pull up pictures, because it's not just the containers. Sometimes it's actually, you're supposed to count the number of nuts you're supposed to eating and things like that. And so I've just stuck with it, and I'm going to continue to do that. The one area that I need to really pay attention to that's affecting my sleep is I'm not finishing my water early enough. And so I'm having to get up and go to the bathroom in the night. And I know that rest period is so important because it's when we can lose more weight. So that's what I'm going to be doing, just finishing my water earlier and just continuing to follow directions.
So the thing that I have done well is to, like, I guess I'm progressing in my exercise. I love my exercise, and I'm really enjoying it. And I really enjoy how I feel with my exercise. Actually, a huge win today, is non-scale win, is I ended up swimming like the whole river because the float was floating away. And so I swam the whole entire river, which I cannot say 3 months ago that I could have done that, because we were really sick and I lost all my strength. So the thing that is my why is getting my strength back. So that's actually like seriously motivated me today to really do better on everything. Kind of really like what Ken talked about is getting my water in sooner is one thing as well. We're both like getting up. So it really does interrupt our sleep. So that is my thing. And sometimes I just have to really track and putting it in. Sometimes I forget and I just start putting something on, and then I like take my first bite and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't measure. So I've done that a couple of times and like getting better, but just making sure that's all measured out.
Yes. So things that have gone really well for me is all related to the food. I have taken advantage of 3 cheats, and even though I've been allowed 6 of them, I've just let several of them go. But I think one of the things I've done really well is I've had no unplanned cheats this whole time, not one. That has been really awesome, and I think the food planning just helps a lot with that. And how I'd like to improve, I know I need to get more sleep. I would like to approach I think 7 hours might be a realistic, better than the 6 I sometimes get now. But yeah, getting more sleep, and I'd like to start upping my exercise.
Well, I have had a couple of blunders on the program. However, I've noticed that the more consistent I am and the more accurate I am with my tracking, the better result I'm getting, which has really inspired me to stay on point. And I'm getting the results, so I'm really thrilled.
This is the most timely subject for me because I am constantly pinging in this gray zone. The workouts for me are paramount. Like I spend 60 minutes every day, most days of the week, doing workouts. I absolutely love the workouts. I love to sweat. I love to do all that. So I'm doing that part really well. The water is a piece of cake. I'm usually done with water about 3:30 in the afternoon. So I drink 40 ounces at a time. I know I drink like a gallon and quarter or so a day. So that part's really simple. The food window, really simple. I'm usually done the food window by 6:30 at the latest most days. Those things I have down to a science. Where I suck is the Energizer. I've taken Energizer 3 times in 45 days. And 2 of those 3 times, I feel like I want to build an entire village for Habitat for Humanity. I don't know what that stuff is, like liquid crack. I can't figure it out. But I tell you where I'm really struggling right now, and I have not admitted this to anybody, but I am getting lazy. I'm really, really good at exercise. I am terrible at this food thing. Like it's not that I make bad decisions. I just I don't cook. So like I'm not the I don't know. That's what I said in this beginning of this whole thing. This is a very new thing for me. So I saw a lot of results quick, and I got very comfortable with like this is what I'm doing and it's working really well. And I just this is the call to action for me that I needed, because I feel like I've just gotten lazy, and I'm pinging right against that gray area that you guys are talking about, the gray zone. So thank you for your time. This is a timely call.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Boy, I'm so grateful for this program and the fact that Carmen has laid out everything so clearly for us. And for us, one thing that has really made a huge difference is that we really live religiously by our tracker. We do the same thing, Jerry, but it's a slightly different form that was in the Getting Started guide. And so we just fill in those boxes every day, and we have been measuring everything just precisely like you were talking about with the butter and the teaspoon. Like, I love butter and mayo, but I level it off, man. And I don't go for those side and bottom droppings and things like that, even though I totally would in the past. I've also been able to, when making a peanut butter sandwich or something like that, avoid, or, serving certain chips that we're not allowed to have, avoiding licking my fingers. And I don't know that I would have been able to do that in the past, but it's like, oh, it's on my finger, but it's not in my plan for today, even if it's just powder. No, it's not on the plan. So I'm going to go wash that off. What I know that I still need to work on, which is more of a big deal, more of a challenge for me, is the mindset training. We're rewriting our brains and our language, and that's where I need to keep working. And the overthinking things and being my biggest critic, that's where I need to keep on working. And I know I've talked about this, about getting more sleep, but yes, so that my body actually has time to process everything. And then the vision, that's been so important. Carmen's talked about that a lot. And I think about these things, but I haven't taken the time to write them down or make a glorious vision board like Afia has. So that's what I need to work on, is really crystallize that part, the brain part of the program.
I'm a chef, and so I have stuck to the recipe, and it has pushed me through. I think I'm on, like, I don't even know right now, 35 days of not like being on my success board. But yeah, I just, no matter come hell or high water, I will get my boxes checked, and I am okay with, like, if I'm opening a cafe right now, so I taste food, I chew it and I spit that sucker out, and then that's what we do. Jen and I talked about that before I started the program, and she was like, you could taste it and spit it out. So that's what I do if I need to try something, and it has proven me very well, played very well for me. What I want to improve in this process moving forward is I want to be joyful about the process. Like, I think it's become tedious, or not even tedious. Tedious is not the right word. Like, it's just that I'm going through the motions, and no matter what's going on, I'm just going through the motions. Okay, I got to get these 4 veggies in. I have to get my fruits in. I have to do this. I have to get my workout in. And it's not like I'm not really being joyful about it. And that's my challenge to myself moving forward, is I want to be joyful when I work out. I want to do this because I want to do this, not because it's a task on a checklist, you know?
Hi everyone. One thing that I do well is once I measure out my gallon of water, I get it done. I'm not fazed by it. It's not too much water. I can finish it, but I have to measure it, because if I don't, then counting out the cups, that makes it difficult. Something that I'm getting better at and that I want to improve on is counting my victories. Prior, I would get stuck when I would have failed or not done something right. Like if I missed a container or if I didn't do a workout, like that kind of would like set me back. Or would put me like in a negative mood, or like not enough, or this is hard type deal. But now when I count my victories, when I go down a size, when I lose every pound, even if it's 0.6 of a pound, some days are 0.6, some are 1. This week was 3 pounds. So it's enjoying those, celebrating those, and not with food, but just celebrating, being in a good mood. And something else, my gray zone is I want to get consistent on my workout. The plan is workout 6 days a week. And there's been days where I haven't felt like doing my workout. And I'm like, I'll just make it up tomorrow and I'll do 2. So I'm only cheating myself when I do that. And that's it.
So what I've done very well is the workouts. So I do enjoy the workouts, and I get up. That's what gets me going. If I feel tired or whatever is going on, it will always give me the extra energy that I need to keep going. Where I'm lacking, and I guess I would call it maybe being lazy as well, as in the tracking of the food. The other thing too, part of my journey has been when you fall off or you have something you shouldn't, it's like, it doesn't, for me, it kind of like just continues. So that's what I have to work on.
Hey, you guys, what I do well, I check off all the boxes really, really well. Working out is not the problem. The water's not the problem. What I think I need to do is tuck everything in tighter. So I need to research some of the nutritional values of the foods that we're allowed and eat more consciously and shut that window down.
Great job, everyone. This was such a good call. I remember our gray zone call and how it was just like a eye opener to all of us. And so take what you heard tonight and just let this be like a refresher course to get back to the basics, back to the beginning, tracking your food, getting to that window. There's magic in everything that Carmen has taught us. The water, the windows, the containers, even down to the energize, because we got to keep ourselves excited. And that's something that we all learned about 8 weeks in, is to bring the joy back and bring the excitement back. And I promise you one thing, and I bet you all my teammates can agree with me. After this 6 months, you will have no regrets that you have went through this transformation. It is life-changing. You will be so sad. I cried today when it ended for us. Like, my husband had to like pull me together, because I have learned so much and I have changed, and it's called the biggest transformation, and it's helped every single one of us transform in many areas of our lives. And so don't take this journey lightly.